I'm Don Walker, and I'm Communications Director for Brevard County Government. The federal government has provided Brevard County $18 million, which we're using to provide rental assistance for residents of Brevard County who have been financially impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. Here is Housing and Human Services Director Ian Golden to tell you how the program works and how you can apply.
This is the main county webpage. So when you get to it, you'll see right here at the very top, it shows departments. If you click on that, you'll see Housing and Human Services. You click on it and you get to our department's main webpage. You scroll down and you get to the Emergency Rental Assistance application. You have the option of downloading a PDF version of the application, which you can fill out at your home. You can then drop it off at the county, at our office. You can drop it off at any county library. We have staff who pick up those applications every day. You can email it in. We have an email address. And then you also have the ability, if you continue to go farther down, and that, by the way, Brevard ERA at brevardfl.gov is that email address. You also have the option, if you click on this link, to complete the application entirely online. So the very first page of both the online and the paper application gives you some bullet points about the program. It also gives you some information about income eligibility. So when you look at this chart, the persons in family, that's how many people are in the household who are in the apartment or home that you're renting. And then you look to see if your income falls below either of these numbers. The lower number that says 80%, that's the maximum amount you can earn before you're not eligible for the program any longer. Once you read through this, you click forward. Oh, sorry, I can't see the checkbox. You check off that you've read it. It won't let you actually move forward in the application until you do. And then you get into the actual application itself, which I'm not going to go through entirely with you. I'll just highlight a few things. We want to know, because we're required to know, to see if you've gotten any assistance anywhere else. So right off the bat, we're going to ask you if you've gotten any assistance from any other source. We're going to ask who has completed this. The actual renter can be the applicant. The landlord can actually apply on someone's behalf as long as the landlord gets a signature on the application from the renter. So they can actually help you fill out the application. We'll then get if it is completed by them, we want some information. We want to know how much you owe. You don't have to owe money to apply to this program. But if you do, we can potentially assist you if you're eligible. We want to know about your household. We want to know all the people in the household, their dates of birth. Everybody who's over 18, we're going to want a copy of a valid ID. That could be a driver's license, that could be a Florida ID card, but it has to have a Brevard County address. The other next set of questions, really, we're trying to just gather demographic information. We will not be reporting on any of this information on an individual basis. We will be looking at aggregate data because we do have to report back to Treasury where the dollars came from. We ask about unemployment. If you're on unemployment benefits or if you are eligible for them, actually puts a priority on your application. So if you can show us, you check it off here and then provide us documentation to show that you're on unemployment, we can actually prioritize an application. If you are employed and maybe have lost hours, you are still eligible because that is an impact from COVID, but we do want to know about your employer. We want to know about the income coming in, again, to back up what you saw on that first cover page about verifying where your income falls. A little bit more, and then we get into what the documents that we ask for as submitting documents, as supporting documents. So hopefully the IRS has extended the deadline, I think, to May 15th for taxes. So hopefully if you've done it, I don't need a bank statements. I don't need your pay stubs from your employer. All I will need is, if you've submitted your 2020 taxes, a copy of that submission. That is enough for us to verify income for the year 2020. Like I said, We have valid driver's license information, documentation of that income that you reported farther or back on the application. Again, if there's unemployment benefits. If there is no income for a family member who's over 18, we have a form that they have to fill out that basically says, I have no income and I certify. And then a Social Security waiver, just because we do collect some of the information, just to make you aware. Now, we will need a lease. And one of the things that we ran into when we first opened the program back in mid-February is that we were getting the first page of a lease submitted. We actually need the entire lease with signatures. It has to cover the time period that you're requesting help for. If you owe money to your landlord, they will be able to give you a statement that says this is how much is owed. If you're asking for utility assistance, the same thing. You should have a bill that says that it's past due, and here's the amount that's owed. The landlord or utility company, actually most of the utility companies we probably don't need this for because we have them already, but there's an IRS document called a W-9. The county actually requires that before a check can be cut to the landlord, so we will need that for any of those landlords that are not already in our system. And then on that form, they can use, the landlord can either use a business tax ID number or Social Security waiver. Again, then there are some documents. Again, since this is the online form, you can actually sign the document electronically. And then here's that self-declaration form, Social Security waiver form. Once you get through all this, and again, I'm not going to sign it, but once you get through and hit submit and sign, it will verify that everything's been filled out. So everything that has an asterisk on it has to be filled out, otherwise it'll kick you back and tell you that it's missing. But if everything is fine, it then takes you to the page where you can upload all of those documents that I said that are necessary to be submitted. Obviously, if you're submitting a paper application, you would just attach copies to the application that you submit.
All right, Ian, thank you very much.
So like I said, I do have some statistics. Since mid-February, as of when I checked this morning, we're up to 612 applications. About 30% of those are coming from the unincorporated parts of Brevard County, 70% from the municipalities. 395 are still in processing. Part of that is because people will submit applications without complete backup information. And so what we do is we actually give them 5 days to a week to actually provide those documents before we send the application back to them. 84% of the ones that have completed processing have been approved. Of those 84%, we're about $710,000 that's been approved. So that's an average of about $3,900 per application. And there's about 16% that have either been denied or returned. So real quick about evictions. The CDC eviction moratorium was extended to the end of June. Some comments on that. Please use the CDC's form. They have a form that you can go to their website. You need to fill that out. If there are multiple people on your lease, each person should fill one out. Provide that to your landlord. There's some requirements under that lease or that moratorium. You have to have tried to get assistance, so you can be trying to get assistance through our program and check that box. If you're an individual on a lease, you can't make more than $99,000. If you're a household that is filing taxes jointly, you can't make more than $198,000. You have to basically certify that you're unable to pay, but you do also have to attempt to make partial payments. And typically, once you've gotten to the eviction process, you're going to have to make payments into what's known as the court registry. That becomes very important because when you start the eviction process, one of the things that the court will look at is, are you doing as the renter, are you having contact with the court? Have you responded to the eviction summons? Have you put any dollars into the court registry? All of those factor in to whether or not the eviction process continues on. And then real quick about that, please make sure, the eviction starts with that 3-day notice. Please make sure you come and apply as quickly as possible. Make sure you're applying to the court. If you wait too long, we may not be able to do anything to assist. For an example, We received an application Monday night from a gentleman who was seeking help with his rent. He called us Tuesday morning around 8:30 because he had a 9:15 hearing. That's not enough time for us to really step in. You really need to be proactive. If you're behind and you haven't gotten an eviction notice, that's even better to come see us. Gives us a little more time to work with you in case you're missing documents.
All right, Ian, thank you very much for that update. As Ian said, along with those applications being available on the Brevard County website under Housing and Human Services, they're also available at all county libraries. And Ian also said you could bring your application to the Office of Housing and Human Services, and that is at the Brevard County Government Center, which is at 2725 Judge Fran Jamieson Way in Viera, Building B for Housing and Human Services.